He is just about to destroy the Demon King and save the world from evil, except what he finds is a little different than what he thought he would. We start things off by being told that it's been 15 years since the war between humans and demons have begun, terrorizing much of the land. However, during the confusion and bloodshed of the war, humanity's greatest hero arose, and with his 3 companions, he took the fight to the demons. Upon reaching the outskirts of the castle where the Demon King lives, the hero broke off from his companions and ventured inside by himself. Once he made his way inside, he was surprised to find that there are no castle guards and that no one has tried to stop his advance. While thinking that this could be a trap, he pushes on into a large chamber where the Demon King must reside, where he sees a figure standing at one end of the room. Thinking this must be his target, he draws his sword and charges in, when the figure turns around and it's not exactly what he expected.
Oh no, he's hot!
The Demon King, Queen, then curtsies, introducing herself properly to him. Trying not to simp, the hero then jumps backwards, saying that even if she is a woman, and even if she is bouncy, it's still his duty to slay her. She then tells him that she's been waiting a long time to talk with him, and wants him to join her. He instantly says no. He's better than me. I would have said yes right then and there. He explains that he doesn't want a bar of it, giving an example that a once beautiful country filled with forests had its sky blackened and its people forced to starve because of her and her demons. But she claps back, saying that the way they were cutting down every tree in order to make charcoal is what caused the skies to blacken due to pollution. And the people in charge then just claimed it was demonic possession. A pretty easy get out of jail free card. She then pulls out a parchment, which goes over the economic advantages of the war between humans and demons. The hero claims that there's not a single advantage to this war, when we cut away to rich noblemen in the main cities toasting to how prosperous this war has become for them. Shocked at reading the document, the Queen reveals that this war has actually benefited both sides, as their races have put aside their differences to fight against a common enemy and improve their economy to do so. However, it has allowed the powerful and corrupt to abuse the weak and vulnerable, especially the poorer countries in the southern kingdoms, as they must continue fighting the demons in exchange for food and financial aid. Furthermore, no matter which side wins or loses, if the war suddenly ends without the compensation of those employed because of the war, it will lead to massive civil wars and turmoil throughout the entire human kingdoms, much to the hero's shock. And much the same goes for the demon side of things. Nothing but civil wars will reign. The Queen, however, has a plan to bring prosperity and a lasting peace for both of their races and wants his help with it. She then says that in the ancient texts, an offer of 50% of the world is usually given to the hero for peace, splitting the world into demon-owned land and hero-owned land. Although that offer wouldn't really help anything in this situation. So instead of offering him 50% of the world, she offers him something much more compelling: herself. She tells the hero that she wants him, truly wants him, and sees this as a way to also give hope to the rest of the world. Realizing that she really does have good intentions and what she said here is true, the hero finally agrees and they both pledge their lives to each other. Oh, this anime is actually really cute. Also, their names are actually just Hero and Demon Queen. Like, I looked it up to check and it's just that. We don't get anything more. They then teleport from the demon realm into the human realm, where the Queen and hero arrive at a small farming village called Winter Pass. They then get set up in a villa by one of the Queen's most trusted servants, Head Maid. Thanks to the head maid going around and talking to the important people of the town, the Queen is given a cover identity as a human noblewoman known as the Crimson Scholar. That night, to stall the war for a time, the Queen tells her head maid to start spreading rumors that the hero and Demon King fought and are both severely wounded, with the king healing in his castle and the fate of the hero being unknown. She expects that to at least buy them a year to start fixing things. The next day, the Queen tries to introduce a 4-field crop rotation system to the elders of the town, which will massively improve production for a town that is this poor and cold. But the elders are too stuck in their ways and don't listen to her. Later that night, just as the hero and the Queen are about to get a bit saucy, they hear a commotion in the stables. Going to investigate, they find 2 young sisters hiding in there, trying to flee from a life of serfdom they've had to endure. The hero wants to help them out, but the head maid refuses and likens them to slaves and insects who are unable to control their own lives due to them being serfs. She then says she is going to report them to the village they fled from, as to not damage the relationships they have here. The Queen then offers to take them in until morning, giving them food and clean clothes for the time being. After they've eaten, the sisters beg to not be reported in the morning, and to just be given some more time. The head maid overhears this and again scorns them by comparing them to insects. The sisters then ask the head maid to teach them how to act like humans, so they can learn to choose their own fates, which she accepts and takes them under her care as she needs help at the villa. Telling Hero, who is confused at her 180 towards the sisters, that she dislikes insects, but now they're maids, and no one dislikes maids. True. As the sisters are given an education by the queen, she also teaches the sons of a noble, a warrior, and a merchant about the war's effects on society, hoping that her education will change their views on it. Thanks to her classes, the queen is also able to get another meeting with the village elder, whom she plans to win over with a secret weapon. Quite some time passes, and it seems like the village has come around to adopting the queen's suggested farming methods. The queen and the hero then teleport to another town and have a meeting with the nun in charge of the Lake Convent in Lake Nation, whom they very quickly discover to actually be Female Knight, a member of the hero's old party he ditched in order to fight the Demon King. Dude, I can't with these names. She is pissed to see him so casually wandering around and now going by a different alias of the White Swordsman. But to justify the hero's disappearance, the queen explains that she had found him extremely wounded from his fight with the Demon King, and upon nurturing him back to health, he offered his protection as gratitude for saving his life. This begins to more or less calm her down, and she tells him about what his other companions have been up to since his disappearance. She says that Archer went to serve one of the families in the Southern Kingdoms, while the female magician left their group while they were still in the Demon Realm in order to search for him. Getting back to business, the queen then again uses her secret weapon in order to get the plan going forward, which is potatoes. A crop which isn't known in the human realm. The queen goes over all of the benefits and asks for her and the church to help spread the crop, and to teach people in the southern countries how to farm it, along with her 4-crop rotation system. The female knight agrees to this request. Meanwhile, the Merchant Alliance Guild receives a present from the queen, a dry compass, which is more advanced than what they currently use. Upon discussing all of the benefits, they decide to look for a way in which to monopolize the compass. Elsewhere, once back at the villa, the hero decides that he must try to search for the female magician in the demon realm, as she might be risking her life trying to find him. Before he leaves, however, the queen gives him a set of imposing black armor, and asks that while he is in the demon realm, he takes care of the rowdier group of demons that have begun to grow lax under her not being there, and also giving him a list of leaders he can trust within the demon realm. She then expresses her disdain that in the 6 months they have been here at this villa together, they've barely managed to hold hands together. So, out of frustration, she goes in for a kiss, and he responds by kissing her on the forehead, promising they can pick this up when he gets back, before dipping out. Quite some time later, the fall season has arrived since the hero's departure, and in that time, the female knight has moved into the villa to teach swordsmanship to the queen's students that she has acquired. One day, a young merchant, who is also a member of the Merchant Alliance Guild, visits the villa and the queen, where she introduces him to another crop not known in the human realm, corn.
Hell yeah! Corn!
Explaining how this simple food will boost mankind's food production immensely. And even more so if the Alliance chooses to support her by funding the farming up north where the weather conditions are more suited for it. The merchant then asks her what it is she's planning to gain out of this whole arrangement, when she simply says that all she wants is a prompt end to the war, with no winners or losers. This freaks out the merchant a bit, and he starts throwing up gang signs to the men he has stationed outside in case of emergency, causing them to start to move in, as what she is saying seems like treason and heresy to the kingdom and the church. She then diffuses the situation by saying regardless of what she wants, they all have something to gain out of this, which the merchant agrees with, accepting her proposition. Elsewhere, in the Winter Kingdoms, the Winter Prince brags to his butler, which is actually Archer, one of the hero's companions, about how the Queen's crops and ideas have helped them so much in the south that they might not be forced to rely on the Central Kingdoms for much longer. We then find out that it's been half a year since the hero left for the Demon Realm, and during that time, he sent letters back, indicating that he has gained some demon allies in his time there. The Queen, however, has become increasingly anxious and upset about him not personally visiting her. And one night, downstairs, the head maid opens up the bottom of a lounge to find none other than the hero, clad in armor inside. We find out that he's been using his teleportation skill pretty often in order to return to the villa behind the Queen's back, a fact which is only known by the head maid. He then confesses that his refusal to meet and talk with the Queen comes from his drive to actually want to be useful to her, as she's kinda got everything she's been trying to do done already. Meanwhile, the southern nations are ordered by the Central Kingdoms to assemble a huge naval fleet in order to recapture an island known as Aurora, the only territory currently under demon control in the human world. We then cut to Gateway City, which is a huge city in the demon realm that is currently occupied by humans. The hero, who is now addressing himself as the Black Knight, saves a demonic barmaid from being harassed by crusaders from the human armies. He then learns from her how most people from the human armies have been mistreating all demonic citizens since their occupation of the city began, except for those that guard the Eastern Fortress. Meanwhile, even though the Winter Prince is heavily against this mission he is being ordered to do from the Central Kingdoms, he is forced to do so with his father, otherwise their citizens will starve for refusing Central. As their mission begins and they set sail to recapture the island, however, demonic krakens easily and quickly destroy most of the fleet, leaving only a few survivors. The Winter Prince is one of them, whose father died while trying to save the White Knight King, the main man in charge of this whole expedition. Back in the southern nations, most of the southern leaders are disgusted by the actions of the White Knight King, who is now trying to put the blame solely on the Winter Prince's father. The Winter Prince then says, "F you, I'm out," leaving the rule of the central governments, as he is now supported by the Church and the Merchants Alliance. He then assumes his father's throne and becomes the new Winter King. His first action is to summon the female knight and charge her with the task of commanding a second, hopefully much more successful, expedition to recapture Aurora Island. Back at the villa, as the female knight is preparing to depart, the queen confesses to her a secret hope that they could actually become friends, and is upset that they didn't really become close in her time here. She then reveals her true identity as the Demon King. To her shock, however, the female knight is surprisingly unfazed by this news, as the hero had told her quite some time ago. She then accepts the Demon Queen's offer of friendship. Then, while the New Year festivals are going on and the queen is all alone in the house by herself, as the head maid and the two sisters have gone to the festivities, but she wanted to stay home. After a full year of being apart, the hero and the queen finally reunite, where they share a cute little slow dance with each other, before he reveals that he can't stay any longer, as he has a plan to liberate the Gateway City in 1 month's time. And she explains that she is also intending to help the humans retake Aurora Island. The hero then again leaves, promising that the next time they meet, it will be on the battlefield. Sometime later, the elder of the sisters asks the queen why does war exist, and she explains the causes and effects of it, while also saying that sometimes it's necessary for the development of people and cultures. Elsewhere, in Gateway City, with the help of some fairies the hero had managed to recruit in his year of being in the demon realm, the hero causes nightmarish illusions to come across all members of the human crusader armies, which begins to weigh heavily on their sanity and morale, especially the crusaders' general. Meanwhile, the queen arrives at the Winter King's war camp and offers him a plan in which to deal with the whole Kraken problem he would have to face at open sea. Using the icebergs that are floating around, they pull them all in one by one, forming a sort of land bridge, which is then all fused together by throwing large amounts of water into the individual parts, then pouring salt into the joints to make it freeze faster and join them all together. The next morning, the battle begins, now with the fighting on even ground. After a long, bloody day of fighting, the forces of the Winter Kingdom manage to capture the beachhead of the Aurora Island. Despite their success, however, they must now get ready to settle into a very long and arduous siege against the Ice General in his castle and his forces. As they're considering their options to increase the speed at which this siege will take place, they hear word from a messenger that a large number of forces from beyond the Aurora Island have suddenly appeared. Initially thinking they're reinforcements, everyone begins to panic, when the queen explains that this is part of her plan, saying they're the Crusader armies from Gateway City. Flashing back, we see the general of Gateway City beginning to completely abandon his post, before then declaring that the commander from the Eastern Fortress, the only one who has been kind to the demonic citizens, will now be general of the city. The now in-command general then forms a new government, which is made up of influential demons and citizens in order to maintain peace between their races. He now has the only city in the world where demons and humans come together. Back at the war camp, we hear word of the demons leaving the castle in order to make one final push as to not be sandwiched between two large forces, when the hero suddenly teleports in to fight the Ice General. But the female knight says, "Nah boss, I got this." And it turns out, she really do got this, slaying the Ice General, ensuring the victory of the Winter Kingdom. As the Winter Kingdom celebrates their recapture of Aurora Island, the Winter King rewards the queen and the female knight with titles, and Archer reunites with the hero, telling him not to isolate himself due to his powers, because he still has friends that care deeply about him. Some time passes, and we see the older sister maid writing in a book, going over some of the recent events. She explains that today is like most days, with the queen happily spending her time with the hero. And even though the head maid is currently out, they haven't run into any problems. She explains that the female knight also showed up today, even though she wasn't really scheduled to. The reason apparently being because she caught a boar and obviously had to share. The older sister maid then goes on to explain that there has been a real change in the atmosphere of the country ever since the Winter Prince ascended to becoming the Winter King. She says that he freed numerous refugees and serfs from their masters, and due to being shown this kindness, they joined the army, adding that the king has now vowed to end as much of the corruption as he can that had been running wild up until this point, and that he is working to move the economy towards a better direction. She continues on by saying the people in Winter's Pass village smile a lot more these days. She then sounds like she's going to talk about the things that haven't been going so good, but when she looks out the window and sees a man, she closes her book. Yo, I'm editing this right now, and I just realized that that's the head maid and not just a random man. Okay, bye. Elsewhere, we see the female knight and the hero having a sparring match with swords, and the hero is using this shit like Tracer from Overwatch, which is letting him dodge her attacks. He then taunts her a little bit before she manages to predict where he's going to be and grabs him by the collar, with the hero saying that she has gotten better. But she says that it's just because she knows that she can go all out while fighting him. After, they're both sitting on a ledge overlooking a garden and just enjoying the summer's day, wishing that things could always just stay like this. And the hero says that it won't be long before the demons make a move of some sort, due to the war currently being in a stalemate. He then tells the female knight that the queen did say that with overwhelming military power, they could end the war, but if they were to do that, it wouldn't quench the fires of conflict. And regardless of who wins, the losing side will be in for a world of hell, with no guarantee that there will be any sort of lasting peace. A short time later, the hero makes his way into the kitchen, and the younger maid crashes into him due to her pure excitement over having made a special orange drink. The queen then walks over, explaining how she told her about the carbonated spring, and from that, she made this drink, which I can only assume tastes like Sunkissed. She then says that the young maid could turn out to be a great cook one day, and as she runs away, excited from this praise, the hero thinks to himself about how much of a change she has gone through since they first met. The demon queen then begins to comb his hair, to get him ready for and talk about a meeting he has with Gateway City's council tomorrow, where he will be going as the Black Knight to represent the Demon King, which he completely forgot about until right this second. She tells him that after the meeting is over, he is to come straight back, and to not let the Dragon Archduke catch him, because the queen is worried that the Archduke is trying to set the hero up with his daughter. He then remembers, however, that he won't be able to come straight back, due to there being a citywide festival in the main street right after the meeting, in what they feel is designed as an event to bring humans and demons together. We then cut to the next day after the council meeting, with the hero and the Eastern General eating some chicken and drinking some brewskis together in some ruins overlooking the city. Just some immaculate vibes. But then, they're interrupted by the Archduke Dragon's daughter, who says that they've been looking all over for them, and that she is the Black Knight's wife, which the hero is not all too much about. We then cut back to the queen, and a violent earthquake begins to shake the entirety of Winter's Pass village. After it subsides, the head maid rushes in to check on the queen, and sees her hiding under a table. The queen then comments on how this is the second one this month, and the time between these earthquakes is getting shorter and shorter. They then decide that they may need to put things into motion much sooner than they previously expected, with the queen saying that she always knew it would come to this, and that she should be glad they at least got these 2 years. She then tells the head maid to have her bed sent to the underworld palace, and she's been gone from there for far too long. We then see the queen, the hero, and the older maid teleport into an area overlooking an iron company town. The queen says that there is a workshop in there that has completed a prototype she asked them to make, but the hero then asks why the older maid is with them, and the queen explains that she has recently been teaching the girl her work, stating that at this point she is more capable than any noble or general. As they make their way in, the queen kinda monologues about how she believes that education will prove to be the most powerful thing in the world, due to the fact that they live in a world so large that no one person truly knows its full extent. And the reason why education will be so important is because without it, you can't even begin to know how ignorant you are in the first place. She says that it takes an incredibly long amount of time for someone to share everything they know to another person, and even longer if they're trying to share it with multiple people. We then see them enter into a massive workshop, where, after a bit of a dramatic build-up, it's revealed that the Demon Queen has had a printing press made, and it's working. This bitch is big brain for real. We then cut to the hero in his bed, holding a piece of paper which the printing press used to make a sentence, and he is amazed by the potential of this technology, while slowly falling asleep. We then see someone sneaking around at night, and after turning a corner, see that it's the female knight, holding a tea set, and she catches the Demon Queen, seemingly trying to break into the hero's room. They both then have a little moment of asking each other what they're doing here, when they're both obviously here trying to get a little piece of the hero for themselves, with both having reasons for choosing this night as the night to do it. Female knights being that she saw a handkerchief declaring love left for the hero from the Archduke Dragon's daughter, and the Demon Queen's being that she is leaving in a few days, which she doesn't want to outright say, as currently no one except for the head maid knows. Speaking of, she then suddenly appears and quickly wraps up their arguing by pushing both of them into the room with the hero to sort it out between themselves. After talking for a brief period about the best way to go about this, they decide that it's best if they just share for tonight, with one lying on either side of the hero. As they're lying together with him, the Demon Queen, viewing the female knight as her only real human friend, tells her about the fact that she has to go back to the demon realm soon, to basically re-up on her license of being the Demon King, and that if she's lucky, it shouldn't take more than a few months at most. But she also has a bunch of other things to do while she is over there, like trying to unify the small bands of demons that might be starting to break loose. A few days later, the Demon Queen is just about ready to leave, and she gives everyone jobs to do while she's gone, instructing the hero to take a look into a country known as White Night, saying that recently it started to become unstable. She then gives a ring to the older sister maid, which will let her take on the Demon Queen's appearance during important meetings while she's gone. We then see the hero, the head maid, and the Demon Queen teleport to the demonic realm. The hero and the queen then part ways, giving firm handshakes all around. That's it for this part, fellas. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. There will be other parts coming out soon.